You of the Dragon Clan Part 1. In the series You of the Dragon Clan, across two posts, I primarily share You's connection to the Dragon Clan. A major reason You came to be reborn in Taiwan is that his Dragon Clan is currently stationed in Taiwan. And as the leader of the Dragon Clan, he needs to be with his people. You told me the following accounts are all narrated by you and transcribed by me. That the Dragon Clan is a vast divine beast tribe within the heavenly realm, larger in number than any other divine beast clan. Their duties are water governance and combat. Water governance encompasses heavenly rain, mist, dew, oceans, rivers, streams, lakes, and even well water, whether freshwater or seawater. All water falls under the Dragon Clan's stewardship. The first divine beasts that you ever encountered were also from the Dragon Clan. They possess tremendously powerful positive energy, capable of turning conflict into harmony. Because their energy is so formidable and their combat strength so great, malevolent beings deeply fear them. This is why dragon pillars and dragon imagery guard the entrances of temples across Taiwan to ward off evil. The Liuli Heavenly King Yu's origin and true identity arrived at a celestial realm near the border of the three realms. During his descent from the Liuli celestial body through the upper immortal realms, his divine form was severely damaged as he passed through layer upon layer of the cosmos, until only a sphere of light remained. Under the standards of the old universe, a being without an immortal form had no right to exist anywhere in the cosmos, including Earth. Such a being could only be cast into a space of nothingness, an empty void where they would wait indefinitely for a higher immortal to pass by, rescue them with divine power, and bestow upon them a new immortal form, before they could dwell anywhere in the vast universe. The Creator caught the Liuli Heavenly King just in time, because the Liuli Heavenly King had once signed a divine covenant with the Creator, who therefore pledged to protect him before the gods who upheld the old universe's laws could discover him. The Creator froze the spacetime of that region, rendering it invisible to all, and gave the Liuli Heavenly King the smallest possible dragon form, so as not to be detected too quickly by the gods of the old universe. The Creator who arranged all of this was not afraid of the old universe's gods, for the entire cosmos, from the micro-universe to the macro-universe, was his creation. With a single wave of his hand, he could restrain all those gods. However, doing so would cause the old universe's gods, beings of limited understanding, to misinterpret his actions as a violation of cosmic law. They might even launch a war to defend those old laws, resulting in massive casualties, a scene the Creator could not bear to see. The Creator entrusted the small dragon to the leader of the Dragon Clan, Poseidon, god of the sea. A brief explanation for everyone here. Poseidon was also the god of horses in ancient Greek mythology, while ancient Chinese believed that dragons and horses could transform into each other. The Confucian classic Rites of Zhou states that a horse of 8 chi or taller is considered a dragon. And the classic of Mountains and Seas, an ancient map of the world, goes further with the phrase horses are essentially the essence of dragons. The existence of the Chinese idiom, spirit of the dragon horse Long Xingxian, meaning vigor and vitality, is not without reason either. At that time, Poseidon had used his great power to create Atlantis, an oceanic empire of advanced technology, abundant wealth, and concentric city planning. After entrusting the empire to a royal family chosen by the people, Poseidon led the dragon host to circle above the great empire as its guardians. However, the royal family lacked the ability to communicate directly with the Dragon Clan. They had to rely on priestesses to burn incense and offer prayers, writing their requests on sacred petitions to be burned and conveyed to the dragons. The Dragon Clan did not grant every request. They observed the royal family's moral character, evaluated whether the request served the people's welfare, tested the royals' resolve, and only then decided whether to approve. Later, Poseidon himself needed to descend to the mortal world for incarnation, because he too had signed a divine covenant with the Creator in ages past. If he delayed further, he would miss the chance to receive the Creator's key. But before departing, he had to select a new leader for the dragon clan to carry on his mission of safeguarding Atlantis. With his divine sight, Poseidon perceived that the small dragon, the Liuli heavenly king's immortal form, shared a profound karmic bond with the newly appointed head priestess. He believed the small dragon could assume the role of dragon clan leader and communicate with the priestesses. That head priestess was none other than the incarnation of the crystal high god. All priestesses of Atlantis were female, selected from the populace by emissaries of the head priestess. Once chosen, a candidate had to undergo trials to confirm she retained her divine nature and could commune with the dragon god before being accepted as an apprentice priestess. The head priestess, the incarnation of the crystal high god, possessed divinely gifted eyes, the celestial eye, that could see Atlantis's past and future. She saw that the sea was about to swallow the entire empire and felt panic. She wanted to perform a celestial prayer to seek the dragon god's will. However, the head priestess could not perform the celestial prayer alone. She served at the command of the royal family and could only conduct it under royal authorization, together with the entire priestess corps, so that their unified and powerful force could reach the heavens. The head priestess left the priestess tower and went to the palace to report the matter to the emperor. But by then the royal family had already descended into moral decay. The palace was filled with countless enslaved people kept for the royals' physical gratification, servicing the self-styled nobility in the most degrading manner. This meant that the empire's future, its young, had been reduced to tools for the royals, slavery and carnal pleasure. Witnessing this depravity, which so grievously betrayed the dragon god's teachings, the head priestess prepared to leave in sorrow, but a young princess from the royal family secretly followed her out. That day, the palace was holding a grand celebration and everyone was occupied. The guards usually assigned to watch her had been redeployed elsewhere, giving her the chance to slip away. This ragged, abandoned little princess was the incarnation of the sovereign of the desert. Because she was mute, she had always been locked away in the most hidden recesses of the palace. She could neither speak nor write, yet she possessed the extraordinary ability to communicate with the head priestess through powerful telepathic thought, through remote vision. The little princess had glimpsed the head priestess's dilemma. She asked through thought transmission, since she carried royal blood, could she authorize the priestess corps to perform the celestial prayer? The head priestess, perceiving the princess's powerful divine nature, agreed. The celestial prayer proceeded smoothly, and the sacred petition reached the dragon clan leader, the Liuli, heavenly king in dragon form. But by this time, the fate of Atlantis had already entered its final tribulation, the point of no return. This once glorious Atlantis, corrupted by the decadence of its royalty and the moral collapse of its people, had reached the end of its civilization. By then, no one in Atlantis worshipped the dragon god. No one followed the dragon god's moral teachings. And no one sincerely sought the dragon god's aid. Because the people had lost their faith, the dragon clan could not intervene. They could only watch helplessly as the entire civilization fell. The dragon clan leader, incarnation of the Liuli heavenly king, revealed his will during the celestial prayer. Atlantis would soon return to the embrace of the sea god. Only those within the priestess tower would be given hope of survival. When the head priestess announced this divine oracle, many scoffed at it. The royals and nobility, in particular, ordered soldiers to tear down the proclamation. Yet the oracle carried divine power. It could neither be torn nor damaged in the slightest. Some Atlantean ancestors had faithfully preserved the dragon god's ancient teachings, passing them down through generations, transmitting the faith orally from heart to heart. And so, those who still held faith in their hearts began migrating toward the priestess tower. Even as the vast majority dismissed the oracle entirely, the priestess tower soared into the clouds, standing upon the sea at some distance from the mainland. Entering it was no simple feat. One needed unwavering resolve and the courage to scale its dizzying heights. Many who arrived managed to enter, but many others, daunted by the climb, could only gaze up at the tower in despair. Among those faithful Atlanteans who heeded the dragon god's call, many have become used supporters in this lifetime, whether or not they successfully entered the tower in that age. Atlantis's corruption only intensified. Soon it became a land where behind vermilion gates, meat and wine go to waste, while on the roads lie bones of the frozen dead. The wealthy, devoid of conscience, began the grotesque practice of feasting on human flesh paired with fine wine. The poor sold their wives and children to survive, and there were even cases of families exchanging children to eat. The true pillars of any civilization are righteous faith and moral virtue. The crumbling pillars that had sustained Atlantis finally collapsed altogether. The sea surged in and overturned everything. The soil liquefied and caved in, and this once thriving oceanic empire fulfilled the dragon, God's oracle at last, sinking beneath the waves, returning to the sea god's embrace. The priestess tower, too, disintegrated and plunged into the deep, yet the people sheltered inside the tower held fast to their faith in the dragon god under the head priestess's guidance. They closed their eyes and awaited the dragon god's deliverance. After the tower toppled and sank to the ocean floor, the survivors opened their eyes to discover that gills had grown behind their ears, webbing between their fingers, and their lower bodies had transformed into fish tails. They had become merfolk. And so, the surviving Atlanteans continued to live beneath the sea in the new form of life the dragon god had bestowed upon them. From that point on, the dragon clan no longer circled the skies above what had once been Atlantis. Following the creator's instructions, they departed. Within the three realms, all life has an end. After using the last of his divine power to protect the surviving people of Atlantis, the dragon god, the incarnation of the Liuli celestial king, reached the end of this lifetime as well. At that moment, the creator's Dharma body appeared once more, placing his immortal spirit in a location hidden from the gods of the old universe to await the right moment and the right destiny. To be continued to part 2. Please follow UN on GanjingWorld if you would like to see more.